people have been committed to their eternal rest prematurely. Scratch marks and other signs of desperate escape bids have been found inside exhumed coffins, suggesting some poor sods suffered the waking nightmare of being buried alive. But that could never happen in modern society, surely? Well, now you've got something other than death by Tide Pod to worry about. There are many, many recorded cases of people waking up in metal boxes in mortuaries, and as recently as this year. According to news reports, this is what happened to a man after he was involved in a traffic collision in Johannesburg. He's said to have spent 2 days in storage at the mortuary before hospital staff heard his cries for help.
That is honestly one of my biggest fears. This is why when I die, please just turn me to ash. Like, burn me to a crisp. That's all I want. Then scatter my ashes wherever you want. Preferably like Alaska, far, far away. Like scatter me on a glacier. Okay? Just anywhere but here. This is because I do not want to wake up in a coffin. Because you never know. We don't know what happens after you die. What if people just wake up and we have no idea? Anyway, back in the day, way back in the day, they used to have bells attached to coffins, just in case people woke up and they could ring the bell.
Chester Road in Fairfax County, Virginia is home to a popular destination among tourists. It's known officially as Colchester Overpass and appears very ordinary, but unofficially it's known as Bunny Man Bridge. Now this legend starts with the closure of a nearby mental asylum, as they so often do. A busload of inmates were being transferred to another institution when 2 of the most dangerous inmates escaped to the woods. Typical. Leaving half-eaten carcasses of rabbits as their trail, the bunny men, as they became known, evaded detection for weeks. Eventually, one of them was found dead, hanging from the bridge, and the other was never found.
Creepy. I love the bunny man story. And if you guys know me from Top 5, then you know I have a very difficult time saying the bunny man. I'm from the north of England, as well as the south of England. Sometimes my northern accent comes out and I so desperately want to say the bunny man. You know how hard I have to think about saying the bunny man so that I say bunny instead of bunny? Anyway, that's my rant for the day. Bunny is a difficult word to say.
All the people who ride the bus to nowhere do, albeit even if they don't know where it is they're going. That's because Philadelphia's legendary Phantom bus never shows a route or a destination, it just drives. The bus has been spotted all around the city and some claim to have seen it in other cities too, appearing as a otherwise perfectly ordinary bus. But don't be in a hurry to start looking for fare prices. The bus's passengers are exclusively those who found themselves at a low point in their life and who want to get away from whatever hard time it is they're going through. When on the bus, the hopeless passengers ride around for hours, days, weeks, even years. Once the passenger is ready to face the world again, they may get off.
Okay, so there's a Phantom bus. You can get on it and ride on it for days, weeks, months, years. Do you have a say in that? Or is that just like fate? Like the bus decides how long you need to be on there. And then you can decide when you want to turn back to reality. I want to escape reality for a bit. I would get on this bus, but I would only get on the bus if when I got on it, I was like transported to like my dream scenario where I was with like, you know, cool people. Like, I'm rewatching Glee at the moment. This is something I can admit. I feel very nostalgic about Glee, so I'm rewatching it. If I could get on this bus and then be transported to Glee. Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Central Dark, your place for all things horror. I'm your host, Susie McPhee, and these are the 10 creepiest urban legends from America. Let us know down in the comments what place you'd like us to do next. Britain, my hood. Germany, France, Italy, I'm just naming countries. Brazil? Anywhere. If you want it, we'll do it, but I can't promise you anything, because if there's a promise, I'll break it.
1800s New York was a very dangerous place, with all kinds of criminals out on the street, but none were more notorious than Ludwig the Bloodsucker. Short and stocky, he was incredibly hairy, large bristles visible from his ears and nose. But despite his appearance, Ludwig was not entirely human. Every night he preyed on drunken locals, waiting outside bars to lure his chosen victims somewhere quiet. When hidden, he would cut their throat and drink their blood as if it were wine.
So Ludwig was a vampire, that much we know. That is frightening. I haven't heard this story before, and if I have, I've forgotten it. which may be the case because I tend to forget most things to the point that people think it's borderline a problem. I think it's fun. You never know what I'm gonna remember. Anyway, this dude was a straight up vampire, clear as day. Has he been written about? Is this a thing? We speak about him? I don't know. I don't think I've spoken about him before.
1944, a strange figure began to terrorise the small town of Mattoon. Tall and unusually thin, the man dressed in all black and prowled the streets at night, holding a large flit gun. On choosing his victim, he would pump some kind of toxic gas into their home, before disappearing into the night. Dozens of people reported being attacked by the mad gasser, awakening at night to a strange smell. Some were unable to move, as if paralysed by the gas, but others were able to reach a window, from which they witnessed their attacker escape. Before long, locals took to patrolling the streets at night, and the mad gasser was never seen again.
I've never heard this urban legend before. So essentially a man was going house to house and gassing people. That's terrifying, because that's something like... The thing about urban legends is there is like a level of fiction to them, where you're like, this is kind of scary, but would probably not happen. This is one where I could imagine that there's like a psychopath out there going house to house and like turning on people's gas and having them die. That feels a little too real for my liking. I don't trust people.
Foul odour in their room. They report it to the staff the following morning, who quickly establish the offending smell is coming from under the bed and thankfully not the suspiciously stained mattress. Nothing good ever came from looking under the bed in a seedy guest house, and in this story it's no exception. The staff reveal the couple spent the night sleeping over a rotting corpse, crammed into the bed base. The truth to the tale is that unfortunately for the guests involved, this happened on more than one occasion. Bodies have been discovered under beds in hotels in Vegas, Florida, California, New Jersey and other locations across America.
That's yeah, this became a weird theme and a weird event that kept happening to people, where they would stay. It was usually seedy motel rooms, and something would smell. They would look under the bed, there'd be nothing there. And then I remember, I think there was one story where someone found a hole in the mattress, and then there seemed to be blood. And then inside was a dead body.
In Beaver Dunes Park, just northwest of Oklahoma City, lies Shaman's Portal. But you may know it by its alternative and rather eerie name of Oklahoma's Bermuda Triangle. It's a rather apt name, to be honest, since according to this legend, people have been disappearing from here for centuries. These mysterious occurrences have been attributed to the fact that Beaver Dunes Park was built on an ancient Native American burial ground. Yep, that old chestnut. Stories about disappearances go as far back as the 1500s, when Spanish conquistadors were travelling through the area looking for gold. They then disappeared without a trace in paranormal flashes of green light, and well, disappearances continued thereafter.
Honestly, I believe in this stuff. I believe in like Bermuda Triangles and weird occurrences and people disappearing. Because at the end of the day, when you think about the universe, nothing makes sense. Yes, science makes sense. But when you just try to like think about everything large scale, like the universe, like where did the universe come from? We can get into the discussion of religion, but we won't. Nothing makes sense. So other things have to be at play. Like, if a whole universe can be created, then other things can also take place in this world, such as people getting, you know, teleported to other universes, people disappearing, showing up somewhere else. I believe it.
An old man and his dog. Waking up in the middle of the night, he saw a strange creature watching him. A little bigger than his dog, the creature had thick brown fur, pointed ears, and bright red eyes. Terrified, he slashed at it with a knife, cutting off its tail and sending it running out of his cabin. Still hearing it scream in the distance, he cooked up and ate the tail, unable to turn down a free meal. Then the next night, he heard loud scratching on the outside of his cabin, and a deep demonic voice. For hours he heard the same sentence repeated. Give me back my tail.
This werewolf dog thing is a person? This may be like American Werewolf in London. American Werewolf in Paris? London's the first one, Paris is the Anyway, dude shouldn't have cut off his tail. Dude should have just died, you know? Sometimes you've just got to let death come to you. If Final Destination taught us anything, when it's your turn, it's your turn. Don't know how we got there.
Pulling over, the man got out and ran over to help, disappearing into the trees. Now alone in the car, his date simply waited for his return, but she had no watch, and it seemed to go on for ages. Turning on the radio, she heard an emergency report that a lunatic had escaped from a nearby insane asylum. He was an especially violent man, with a hook for a hand, and no one knew where he was. The moment that news report ended, she noticed a loud thudding noise on the car roof, and so she leaned out of the window, looking up to see a naked hook-handed man holding the severed head of her boyfriend.
This is a classic. This is an urban legend everywhere, I feel, but probably, yeah, mostly popular in America. I first heard about this urban legend from the movie Urban Legend. I think. But yeah, this is the classic of a couple go driving, they hear a noise, guy gets out, he doesn't come back, and then usually the woman hears scratching on the top of the roof, and then it's her husband hanging. That's usually how it goes. I can't remember the hook bit. I've already forgotten what they said. But yeah, this all went down in the movie Urban Legend, which is a great movie because they cover all of the most popular urban legends. And then the characters get killed off one by one in those grisly ways. I love me an urban legend.
Grunt Road is an old dirt road in New Orleans, Louisiana that leads deep into the woods and eventually leads to a dead end. Yes, pretty creepy on its own, but also down there, the Grunch are said to live, a group of deformed half-human, half-monster creatures. Legend has it that a group of albinos and dwarves were forced to settle here as they were thought to be creations of the devil and thus couldn't live with the rest of society. The monsters that are now said to roam the woods are the product of years of inbreeding.
That's kind of sad, you know? If that's, I mean, I don't, is it real? We don't know. I feel like we would know if it was real. It's almost like Hills of Eyes, you know? But a group of people getting sent away because they were different. Sounds familiar, right? I think that's very sad. Well, there we have it. Thanks for tuning into this video. I've been your host, Susan McPhee. Stick around for bloopers. I'm just gonna move this closer, by the way. That, preferably, you know, like, near share. Maybe. It's not frightening. It became such a reoccurring instance. It became just in case. Isn't that Ugh, no thank you. I've got severe claustrophobia. I do not want to be in a coffin. And if any of you have seen the movie... Oh, what the called? I'm blanking. I'm close enough to New York to be uncomfortable. But don't worry, I kind of look like a vampire, so if a vampire saw me, they'd think, ooh, friend, and I'd be like, ooh, yes. Why am I still talking? I think it's getting to the point where I'm just like, I just want to talk, because I'm not used to talking because of the stay-at-home order. I just talk to myself. So when I film, I just want to keep talking. I want it to never end. I need to stop swearing. I'm gonna start working on that, I think. My New Year's resolution, even though we're so into the new year, is to stop swearing. There's other planets, things on other planets. Like, what the fuck? Thinking about space and the universe and everything hurts my brain because it's so beyond our comprehension, you know?